They expanded what a domestic relationship is so that domestic violence can not only apply to spouses and ex-spouses, but now even people in a dating relationship. And these congressmen who don't know the difference between a 45 caliber handgun and a spark plug, they're trying to tell us what a dating relationship is. And they have all these qualifications that people have to meet in order to be in a dating relationship, at which point one of the two can be added to the prohibited purchasers list. And I know that sounds confusing. You're going, didn't you study this before you came on air? No, I did study it. I studied it like crazy. I think I wrote 5 pieces on it last night alone, but it doesn't make any sense. So if what I'm saying sounds like gibberish, that's because that's what this bill sounds like. Sounds like gibberish. That's why the NRA part of it, no part of it whatsoever.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it was one of your articles or not, but I read that the people most impacted by that waiting period are women who are in domestic abuse situations, and those are who will most likely die from some sort of break-in or attack from a hostile partner or stalker or something along those lines, and they are scared to go get a gun. But they go to training, they get their permit, and then they want to get their gun as soon as possible. And now they're going to have to wait longer, and more women and children will die because of just that portion of this legislation. And the legislation pressures states to pass red flag laws by offering free federal money, which means taxpayer dollars, but red flag laws are anti-American, AWR. Just because someone calls the police and says they don't think you should have a gun, that doesn't suddenly cancel your constitutional Second Amendment rights and right to due process, right to life, liberty, and property, right? Red flag laws are as anti-American as it gets, and frankly, as Charlie Kirk said earlier on air on this network, if you have ever voted Republican, if you've ever called yourself MAGA, if you've ever gone to a psychologist and had a diagnosis, gone for any sort of mental health problems, I don't know if you have an enemy, if you have a stalker, if you have a troll on social media. I think those were some of the scenarios that Charlie mentioned today. That means you could be one of those who falls under that category of red flag laws. If you have a neighbor that doesn't like you, if you have an ex-boyfriend that doesn't like you, all of these things can get people into real trouble if this goes through. It is pulling at every angle of our constitutional rights, is it not, AWR?
Yeah, red flag laws, I mean, it's opening Pandora's box, Gina, because once you have those, you got an ex-spouse, and maybe your ex-spouse and you were on good terms when you split up, but maybe she or he gets a little tight on money and they see you're doing okay and they get a little bitter, boom, red flag law. Maybe you've got an ex-spouse and she or he left you for another individual. Everything's rosy for them at first, but the other individual breaks up with them, boom, someone calls and enacts a red flag law. I mean, that's easy to see. These things would be easy to abuse, and especially because most states that have them allow the orders to be issued without the person charged being there. That's crazy. Like in California, you find out they're coming to take your guns when the cops knock on your door. And so these are very dangerous laws.